Good evening and welcome to the Drive at 5 on IntellectualRadio.com/iHeart radio station. I'm your host, Roman. We have a great show planned for you today. Please don't forget to stay tuned to IntellectualRadio.com/iHeart radio station after the Drive at 5 Warriors Talk with Rochelle at 6 p.m. Again, she does a fabulous job at 6 p.m. Warriors Talk, so please stay tuned. Tonight, my guest via Zoom is a CEO/president of Jillian Bullock Enterprises, LLC. Also, she's an actress, writer, producer, director, and fight choreographer, and martial artist. Wow, what you don't do.
You're right.
Please give a Drive at 5 welcome to the one and only Jillian Bullock. Welcome to the Drive.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Let's start with your background. So please give IntellectualRadio.com/iHeart radio station your background.
Well, like you said, I am a screenwriter and award-winning filmmaker. I am a martial artist. I have 2 black belts, one in Taekwondo and one in Wing Chun. And now I train in mixed martial arts and boxing. So I do a lot of the fight choreography in projects that I do because that's what I know. So it's easy for me to choreograph the scenes. Got my start when I graduated from college and from LaSalle University in 1991. Got my start in film being an intern on Spike Lee's movie Malcolm X. So that's how I got my feet in the door.
Wow. Your background is extensive. Can you tell us about the transition from being a Wall Street reporter to writing films?
Yeah, I was a reporter while I was in college for the Wall Street Journal, and I was getting my BA in communication, but a big part of that component was you had to take film classes and screenwriting classes in order to graduate. So that's what I did. And I'm already a writer, been writing since I was young, entering essay contests and all that since I was a little girl. Love to read, love to write. So it was just a natural thing. Wall Street Journal, I found that kind of boring. It wasn't, you can't be creative. You can't, it's a straight news. So I'd rather do something like this that gives me more of an opportunity to tell stories and share different things with people. And I usually write dramas and thrillers. That's what I love to do because that's what I love to see. So that's what I do now.
Well, I look at it as it's very rare that you have an African-American reporter writing for the Wall Street Journal. What was that like? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it was interesting. Well, Frank Allen was the bureau chief. It was in Philadelphia. They had a bureau in Philadelphia, and he was the bureau chief. And especially I was surprised that he made sure that the newsroom was diverse, had a lot of women and a lot of people of color. So that was, to me, was a great thing because I was learning from people of color, Black people, Hispanic people, and a lot of women. So they taught me, they mentored me, they helped me learn the ropes. As I started off as an intern, I had to work my way up to become a reporter. It took me like 5 years, but it was a process.
What was the number one thing you learned in that environment?
Number one thing, well, you have to write news stories, even though, I'll tell you an example. This is what happened. I was doing an interview. Sylvester Stallone was in town doing one of the Rockies. And, I was in awe. I love Rocky, love Sylvester Stallone. So I was in awe. So I wrote an article after I interviewed him, and my editor, Frank Allen, was not happy with it. He said, "You're not his PR people. This is fluff. This is a fluff article. Go back, do it over, and make it more of a news story." And that's what I had to learn. You have to still be news. It's the Wall Street Journal.
No matter what.
No matter what.
In that transition, you set standards for Black women in boxing and martial arts by winning belts, as you mentioned, in your fights. How you incorporate boxing and martial arts choreographed in films?
Well, a lot of stunts, me doing fight stunts in movies, and usually they have to bring in someone like me to do the fight choreographed fight scenes. Well, I don't. They don't have to do that because I am the fight choreographer. I have extensive background in martial arts and in boxing, so I just use what I know and translate it to um, on film. And I study a lot of movies, action movies, and see how they do it. I look at behind the scenes, how they break it down, and I incorporate it into scenes that I do.
Do you say, we, let's say the director says, hey, we got something for you. We want you to take a look at it, and you'll say, that's not realistic. It's not going to happen. What you say to that? Have you ever done that?
Man, let me tell you something. That has happened, and I didn't want to lose someone's friendship, so I didn't say anything. Maybe I should have, but the movie was already done, so there's nothing I really could do. If they bring it to me while they're making it, and I see that it's wrong, I would tell them because I want them to have the best film. And if you're not a martial artist or a boxer yourself, you don't really understand that part of it, that world of that. So I would, if I see it in the beginning and it can be changed, then definitely I would say something.
What was the aha moment, so to speak, that makes you want to pursue boxing and martial arts?
You mean how I got into it?
Yeah,
Started in training it.
right.
Unfortunately, when I was 10 years old, I was raped by a family friend. So to me, I started taking Taekwondo when I was 12. Because I said I'm never going to be a victim again. That was my mentality. So I just started training in Taekwondo. 5 years later, I got my belt, my first black belt. Then I started training in Wing Chun. That was Bruce Lee style that he started before he did Jeet Kune Do. He did Wing Chun first. So, everybody at that time loved Bruce Lee. And I started doing Wing Chun later in my 20s. And I got another black belt. So, you're just trying to keep doing things that make you a better fighter, make you better, stronger in your craft, which was martial arts.
It's rare for Hollywood films to ask a black woman to coordinate boxing and martial arts in films. Please explain the process of being chosen in some of the films to choreograph boxing and martial arts in some of these films. And could you at least list some of the films that you have choreographed, if possible?
Well, they are been my films so
Oh,
far,
okay.
but I am going to be doing another film later this year by Hollywood producers who hired me to do a $5 million movie called 22. It deals with the military, but there would be fighting and action in it. And I was surprised that they did ask me to direct that movie. First of all, it's a good sized budget. Plus, it's about war. So we're out in the field and we'll be out in the desert doing war scenes and fight scenes. So they must have felt comfortable from seeing my other stuff, knowing that I could handle the job because, they hired me. So, that's pretty cool.
You have worked with Academy Award winner Spike Lee film Malcolm X. What's
Right.
it like working with director Spike Lee and being part of such an iconic film?
Well, it's different to say I worked with him because I was an intern. So interns are grunts. We don't have any say on anything. We just go there to get the coffee. Uh, we go do all the little, you know, they call it a gopher, and the gopher is go for this, go for that. That's a gopher. That's an intern.
Hmm.
Um, and at that time, Spike was under a lot of pressure because he had ran out of money. So he had to, the studio was going to threaten to take the movie away from him. And he had to go to some of his Hollywood friends to get more money. So it was a very stressful time for him. And, sometimes it was tension on the set because he was just in a very precarious position. And, it was difficult for him. So it wasn't a regular shoot, but he was trying his best not to get that taken away from him. And he had a lot of powerful people come through for him and gave him more money.
What was the learning process in that, even though you were like a gopher in the film?
I if you are not a main crew person, like I wasn't a main crew person. So, when they start filming, to step back and be quiet because that's an intern. You just, that's just the role you're learning. And I just would study and see how Spike worked, how Denzel worked, how Denzel immersed himself in the character of Malcolm. He was always in that role. Like even in between takes, he was still in the Malcolm role. He was just so focused in that role. And you just learn. I learned what I would do as a director and take good notes. Take good notes.
There's one thing I've noticed in watching films such as Spike Lee. There's always an a shot, that iconic shot. Like Spike Lee is that the person stands still
Yeah.
and the
Yep.
camera rolls, and
Yep.
and that's the iconic Spike Lee shot. Do
That's
you
a
have
shot.
an say that again?
That's a shot. Everybody knows that shot. As soon as they see it, you wouldn't even have to know it's a Spike Lee film. You see that shot, you would know it's Spike. A lot of directors do that. A lot of directors do that because um, they want their signature move in every film. I don't have that yet.
That was the question. Do you have that?
I don't have that yet, but I'm working on it.
Oh,
Trust me, I'm
okay.
working on
Well,
it.
you have a movie that's coming out that's entitled A Full Cup of Crazy. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's a cup full of crazy, and we don't even go into production until August. But it is a psychological thriller that deals with mental illness and a path to recovery. So the lead actress, Angela, she a year ago she had a nervous breakdown, and because her and her husband broke up and some other things transpired. And she's a former mixed martial arts fighter. She retired as a champ. Now she's also award-winning screenwriter, so she's big in that area. And she's just trying to get her life in order. She's going to a therapist. She has to take medication for depression, anxiety, and PTSD. But she's trying to get her life in order, and she's doing pretty good. So she starts writing a new script, a thriller about a serial killer in Philadelphia. The thing is, certain things that are happening in the script start happening to her in real life. So the audience has to figure out, are those things really happening to her in real life, or is she still not writing it in the head? So it's a lot of twists and turns that people will have to be paying attention to, or they're going to miss a lot of stuff.
What message or messages you want your audience to learn about the film?
Well, it deals, like I said, it deals with mental illness, and a lot of people, especially in the Black community, don't want to discuss that. It has a shame and stigma attached to it. So a lot of people suffer in silence. So I want this movie to help people understand that it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to get help, which you need to do, especially now with COVID-19, and people are just, having to deal with a lot of stuff, and they need help. People need help. So I'm just trying to show them a way of, and a kind of obviously an entertaining way, but it's still a message of it's okay to ask for help and don't suffer in silence.
The movie deals with mental illness, as you
Right.
mentioned. A lot of
Mhm.
people want to know, what is the difference between the Hollywood mental illness versus a regular person facing mental illness. Some would say it's
Yeah.
out in the forefront, but some people would say it's a difference. Is it the amount of pressure of being out there versus a regular person dealing with it?
I mean, you're talking about how Hollywood portrays it in movies.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times they get it wrong because it is Hollywood, and you have to make it over the top. And because it's over the top, people that are real who are dealing with that can't relate to that person because it's not real. It's not real. I'm really studying as I work to go into production to make sure that this is accurate and that regular people who are sitting there watching that, feels that there's a connection between them and Angela, the lead actress, and that they feel what she's feeling. And again, so they can go get that help that they need by the time this movie's over. They might see stuff in this movie that would trigger them to go get the help that they need. It's very important. Yeah.
The lead actress, Angela, right? Um,
Yes.
How did she approach you with to do a film like this? How
Well,
did
this
that?
the Angela's the character. The Distinct Headlam is the lead actress. Distinct Headlam is the lead actress.
Okay.
She plays Angela.
Okay.
So someone suggested me, another director who had worked with her suggested her because he said she was a strong actress and she needs to be in this role because you are dealing with mental illness. She has to know how to look like an MMA fighter, so she's training now in camp, boxing camp and MMA camp, to look like a fighter. Um, I met her, we talked, I looked at her reels and everything. She's a really strong actress. She's very committed to the role. And it's going to be very emotional because, like I said, it does deal with mental illness. A lot of emotions, up and down emotions, but she definitely can handle it. She's a very good actress.
In the movie, the audience gets a rare look inside the head of the writer, as you mentioned, and the script becomes reality.
Mhm.
Explain to us the concept going back and forward inside the head of a screenwriter who has a mental illness, and the audience keeps guessing if it's real or not.
Yeah, so this is a movie that they're going to see that's really different from most movies because anytime Angela's writing, she's on her laptop and she's writing the script, the audience goes into that script. So then they're spending time with Joshua. He's the serial killer in that script. So her experiences go into that script. Her because she's the writer, it goes into that script. It's just that things, like I said, start happening to her in real life. People, the audience, don't know if that's real or if she's having another nervous breakdown. So it's going to be like two movies in one. So that's why I said they're going to have to pay attention, or they're going to miss a lot of stuff.
The main character is an African American who's battling mental illness. In the
Mm-hmm.
African American community, it's hard to have that type of conversation or a loved one dealing with mental illness. How can this film help someone that's having a hard time discussing or dealing with a loved one with mental illness?
Again, the way I'm writing the script is to tell a realistic way of people who have mental illness. Like for a long time, suffered from mental illness myself when I was younger because I was like I said, raped when I was by a family friend when I was 10. At 15, I was homeless and I was on the streets and had to be forced into drugs and prostitution. So even when I got off the streets, um, living my life, going on with my life, uh, I didn't know I needed help until I was like in my 40s and I went to see a therapist and I was diagnosed with PTSD. So a lot of my experiences are in that script. And I want people to understand that you can come out of that. You can turn your life around by getting therapy. I also do a lot of yoga and meditation that helps me um, with that. So, that's what I want people to see, that everyday people are dealing with this, are suffering with this. But if they go get the help that they need and find vehicles that can help them transform themselves and get healed, it's possible to do, definitely.
When you're dealing with the African American community, going to a therapist is almost like a big no-no. And some
Mhm.
people would say you have to go to church. And there's a battle between church and going to a therapist. Can you explain and you faced this yourself.
Right.
So what was the battle between either going to a church or seeing a therapist was like?
Well, I tell people all the time, you can't pray away mental illness. I don't care what people say. I don't care what people say in the church. You can't pray it away. You need professional help, someone who's trained in this field to help you, especially if you have something like bipolar or you're depressed to the point that you might take your life. You need seriously some help. Praying is great, but get the therapy, get the help that you need. It's mandatory to bring you out of that space, um, so you don't do something that you will regret later on in your life.
So what made you come to that conclusion that I choose therapy over praying praying away your mental illness?
Well, because like I said, I was in my 40s, really my late 40s, and I just realized I was angry all the time, like really angry. Like I'm a martial artist and a boxer. My way of handling stress would be I wanted to hit somebody. That was my way of wanting to deal with the situation. But that's not healthy, especially since my hands are registered as a lethal weapon because I'm a black belt. So if I hit someone, it'd be different from if you hit someone. I would be charged like if I had a weapon, like if I had a knife or something. It's like that. So at that point, when it was getting out of hand, I said I need help, and I did go to church. You know, my mom's a Seventh-day Adventist, so I did go to church. That was they were praying it away. It was not helping me. I was getting more and more angry. And then I just decided I needed help with a therapist, and I started going to see a gentleman, and over sessions and sessions, we worked through that anger issue and where it was stemming from. First of all, I had PTSD. I didn't even know I had it. Two, the anger stemmed from my past, and I never dealt with my past. So all that anger was building up inside me over the years.
Excuse me. You were diagnosed with PTSD. And when that moment hit that you were diagnosed, what was like that feeling, of occurring? The reason I'm saying this is because just in case someone is listening and going through mental illness, they want to know how they can channel it, how they can do it like the movie, writing
Right.
and getting it out or something. Somebody is going through something, and
Yeah.
half the time they're not being diagnosed. And when you was diagnosed, what happened? What led to you saying, I got to do something?
I was depressed, and like I said, I was like really, really ready to hurt someone. I was really ready to hurt someone. My skill set, I could have really seriously hurt someone, and I didn't want to do that because I would end up in jail. So to not do that, I started going to therapy, like I said, and then going through that, just talking to someone who can give you a perspective of what's wrong and help you, like you said, get those coping mechanisms to help you be able to deal with whatever you're going through is a big thing. It's a big thing, and you can't do that on your own. You just can't, because you don't have that skill set to help you like that. So you need someone who's trained in this area. I mean, and some people need to be on medication for a little bit. Like if you're bipolar or something, you need medication. You need medication to calm your moods. So a therapist would know this, and they would help you as best as they can. And that's what I think why therapy is so important. But now, like I said, I also do yoga and meditation. That helps me tremendously. I do that like 5 days a week because that helps center me. It's a center. You get up, you do your meditation. It starts your day off in a very positive way. You do certain breathing exercises, and that teaches you how to be calm.
As a writer, producer, and actress, you see the realities of what's going on with police brutality, the realities of gun violence, and the realities of trials and tribulations in real time. As a filmmaker, the art is becoming reality, and reality is becoming art. As an audience viewing and listening to the news, it plays in your mind, going back to the movie of a cup full of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the balance in telling these stories that affect the mind of an audience member, of what is fiction, what is
Yeah.
reality? Because now it's a battle between, I saw this on a movie once. I
Mm-hmm.
saw this. I really got a chance to see this in real time. That happened, just blah blah blah, and they made a movie out of it. And then vice versa, it's like I saw this on a movie and they did it in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, as creatives, we're trying to if I mean, it depends on what kind of writing you do. Like you'll never see me do a comedy because that's not what I write. I don't do romance. I don't do comedy. I want to do movies that are socially conscious movies. Movies that tug at the heartstrings. Get movies that get people talking about things. But I also know that it's a entertainment field. So my movies always have some form of entertainment in it because I don't want the audience to be beat on the head through the whole movie because that'll make them depressed when they leave out of there. They'll be just so upset and angry. And some movies do that. Some movies you come out of the theater, you so mad, you just want to, but I want to have that balance. I want to teach people. My motto is, I empower, educate, and entertain. That's my motto, and that's what I try to do. So you have to put it out there, but you also have to pull back some and give some lighter moments. Let the audience breathe for a little bit, or laugh a little bit, or just relax for a moment before you get right back into the hard hitting stuff.
One of the scenes in the movie is a man eating at a table in the main character's home, and it turns out it was her doctor. However, she just wrote the scene in the script. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, no, actually, the guy that I think you saw in the eating food is Joshua. He's the one that's supposed to be the serial killer in her script. That's
Right.
who Joshua is sitting there eating at the table. So again, her reality, the audience won't know if that's true or not because he's saying that they're friends, and she's like, "No, we're not." So again, at some point, you're not sure. The audience is not sure if this is real or not, and that's the way I want it to be. I want people to understand that it could be right. He could be someone who's terrorizing her, or it could be that she's having an episode. But they have to look at the whole movie, to find out what's going on.
Let's say if I'm an aspiring director or writer or producer, what advice could you give me in convincing, like, you want to write, um let's say, I wouldn't say drama,
Mm-hmm.
but like reality slash drama type of things that make you think, expand your mind, and so forth and so on, which
Mm-hmm.
in Hollywood it's kind of hard to get across. What would you say to people who's want to up their game, or want to produce and kind of like be in the film and industry?
Well, if they're starting out, again, you might have to get on the set with your intern. You may not like that, but you might have to do that so you can learn, depending on what position that you want to do. If you want to be part of the crew, you should try to get on the set and be an intern first and move your way up to a production assistant and move up. If you want to be a writer, there are so many courses online that you can look at, take. You don't have to go to a college to get a 4-year degree. You can take classes online, read a lot of scripts. You have to read scripts. That is like key to being a great screenwriter, because how will you know what you're doing right or wrong if you don't look at other people who are successful screenwriters? Same thing with directing. If you want to be a director, same thing. Director still needs to read a lot of scripts, look at a lot of movies, study, and go online. There's a lot of free classes that people can get. Some things you have to pay for, but a lot of stuff is free. So in this day and age with YouTube and all this and that, there's no excuse for people not to be able to find the materials that they need to, like you said, up their game.
You mentioned you have taken classes as well, master classes and stuff. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, this is a good one. There is a online forum called masterclass.com. It has hundreds of different teachers on there who are in the business. So I've taken Samuel Jackson's acting course, Spike Lee's directing course, Jodie Foster, she has a directing course, Martin Scorsese has a course. So like I said, there's no excuse for people not to be able to find great content to continuously learn. I'm a screenwriting teacher now myself, so I'm always constantly learning, even though I'm at that level that I can teach. Still, you always got to learn. That's how you grow. and do better work.
A Cup Full of Crazy has opportunities for people who might want to pursue acting or get a chance to be a star for a day. Tell us about that.
That's when we had our Indiegogo campaign, but that's over with now, so they can't they can't
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's over with now, so they can't even participate in that. But there's always the other films that I'll be doing, and always we'll be casting again later this year for another film. So always doing different projects.
So,
Always.
do you have any projects on the horizon you want to tell us about?
Well, other than A Couple of Crazy, then I have to do the $5 million movie 22. And then after that, I'll be working to do my first TV show. I'll be working on a pilot called, it's about an angel who comes back to Earth because God sent her back, says you have to save humanity. But the problem with that is she's an atheist. So she's like, how's God sending me back to Earth?
It's a comedy or
No,
dramedy?
it's a drama. It's a drama. It's
Wow.
a
Okay.
hard hitting drama. It's called Not on My Watch, and like I said, we're going to be working on that pilot to get that done. So it's not a comedy, but people think it is. But yeah, she's an atheist, and she's like, she's a hard when she was on this earth. She's tattooed up, and she's a police detective, and she's always swearing and cursing and drinking, and she just doesn't understand how she got sent back to Earth to be saving humanity when she was like that. So it's going to be interesting. Each week is going to be interesting.
And I when you pursued your black belts and stuff, right? Your hands are a lethal weapon,
Yes.
correct? So,
Yes.
any advice that you can give anyone that's suffering from mental illness, let's say almost in the same predicament that you were in, and they're on their way, they're seeking therapy, they're doing this, but it's that little bit of void that they need to kind of like accomplish to get over that hurdle. I wouldn't say being healed, because really with mental illness you can curb it, but that little sense of healing to almost be complete, you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I said, along with therapy, people need to find something that makes them feel good about themselves, whatever that is for that person. If it's martial arts, they do that. If it's taking a pottery class, that's their thing, a painting class. Me, I do yoga and meditation. Well, I do still do my martial arts, but I need the yoga and meditation to help calm that part. Like you said, you're not totally healed. Because you got to work on it every day. You have to work on yourself every single day. Read self-help books, look at those motivational videos people have that you can look at that really gets you pumped, and that really gets you to thinking and get you excited about life. So it's a constant areas of growth, but people have to find what they really love and do that along with the therapy. We still can't get away from that therapy.
So, anything else that you probably want to share with our audience about the film Full of Crazy?
Well, we're just looking, we got some good people that's going to be in it. Like we have Billy Blanks, who's from Tybo. Everybody knows Billy. He's in it. And we have Ashley Evans Smith. Actually fights in the UFC. She's going to be in as well. And we wanted to get some professional athletes in it because part of it does deal with MMA and boxing. So I'm looking forward to working with them and choreographing some great scenes, some fight scenes.
Yeah, you just can't wait. I see it in your eyes, right? So please give intellectualradio.com/iHeart radio station where they can get in contact with you, just in case seeking some advice or
Okay.
whatever.
Well, they could just go to the website, J Bullock Enterprises, and they have an email on there that they could, reach out to me. I always answer back, so people have reached out to me. I do answer back to people. So, so J Bullock Enterprises, check that out.
Okay, don't be a stranger to the drive at 5. Okay, hopefully you had a good time.
I did. Had a great time.
Okay, that's going to do it for us on this Monday evening. Thanks to Earl Winfrey, our executive producer. Wonder who's behind the scenes, and don't be a stranger to the drive at 5. Come back. Okay, coming out. We'll see you Monday. I'm sorry for saying coming out. Have a nice week, everyone.
You're on my mind every minute. Even when I lose, I be winning. Guess I guess it's true. I can't live without you. I don't see too many rainy days, cause your rain take the pain away. Yeah, yeah. I'm so in love with you, yeah. You're everything I need and more. I've never been so sure. I never met a love so pure like the one you give. Nothing can ever erase or take your place. Jesus, I'm so in love with you. I can't repay you for the things that you do. Never met one so true till the day I met you. 'Cause you're all that I need. I said you're all that I need. You're all that I need. I said you're all that I need. Yeah, my ambitions as a writer. It's your love that gets me higher, and it calls me to inspire whomever you choose and who desire to love everyone and forgive. And I ain't just singing, boy, this is how I live. It's had it right here on my arm says fame, forgiving all my enemies, and that's in Jesus' name. Please forgive them, Lord. Now who be there for you when you be going through? You blame it on the devil, but you know it's you. So you love him, but you don't believe his word is true. But yet he's so compassionate and merciful. That's the God I serve. I don't have the nerve to not give him all my praise. That's the least I can do, cause I just can't repay you. Oh, the things that you do. Never met one so true till the day I met you. 'Cause you're all that I need. I said you're all that I need. You're all that I need. All that I need. I'm so bad that I can't repay you for the things that you do. Never met one so true till the day I met you. 'Cause you are, yeah, all that I need. I said you're all that I need. You're all that I need. All that I need. Oh yeah, all that I need. You're all. He will never let you fall, so give him your all, your all. See, I can't live without you, Lord, 'cause you're all that I need, all that I need.